Hello, Cherries, and welcome to Live Cherries Sunday, Special Monday, episode 211. And in today's video, I'm going to show you how to build triads all across the fingerboard. This is going to be really, really fun. And it's really important to know this. Let me say hello real quick to some of my friends here in the chat that are here already, and I'll give you a little example of what we're going to do. Hello, Dana from Tampa, Florida. I'll give you a round of applause. Hello. And Reflection Music and Videos from California. Very, very cool. Give you a round of applause. Dude. Diana Leitonen. Great name, Diana. Okay. So let's go ahead and I'm going to give you a little example of what we're going to do. Triads all across the neck. I have a little loop here strumming an A power chord so that I could just do a little example. So here's how it goes. Check it out. That's it. Thank you very much. So that's just some triad examples in the key of A, all across the neck. And it's basically every triad all across in different inversions. Root, first inversion, and second inversion. If you're enjoying this video so far, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. I go live every Sunday usually, except when I'm out on tour and I get back on Sunday, which is what happened late last night. And so here I am. Here we are. Give you a round of applause for that. All right, you're very welcome. And coming in from Florida, Tampa, Florida. You know I'm going to be in Florida next week in Fort Myers and in Tampa at the Stanleyville Theater there in Busch Gardens with a band that I play in called SOS, direct from Sweden, the music of ABBA. And I'd love to see you there if you're out there in the Stanleyville Theater. So Jeffrey Boyle. Snowing in Philly. You know it's snowing right here in New York. I'm in Brooklyn, New York, by the way, and it is snowing out here today. It's cold, and it's inside here. It's warm because the heater is on, and just the risers alone in my apartment make it hot. The radiators are not even on. Just the 3 risers that I have, and yeah, hello from Philly, and Ali. Hello, give you a round of applause. All right, lots of applause here today. What's a special Monday? You know, what are you going to do? Drinking my coffee in my Jerry Cherry mug. Everything tastes better in a Jerry Cherry mug. So any questions about this stuff, let me know. I know we just started. But I ran through some examples of the triad positions. Hello, Robbie. And it's real easy to build a triad. Let me just show you here. I'm going to switch this camera angle right here. I'm going to pull up the first triad that I used here. And I don't have any notes written down here because these are examples that you could use in any key. And the root note, third note, I like to talk about intervals. So the root note, third, and the fifth. Right now we're played in A. So in this string set, which would be the, what string set would it be? It would be a 3-2-1. 3 being the G string, open G string, and then 2 being the B string, then the E. So you can really do this anywhere with these graphs. Right now I have it in A, just like that. So I'm fretting the second fret on the G string, the B string, and open E. I'm just playing inversions going up. You keep going all the way up the octave, right there. And the way you build these, say for instance in the key of A, right? Here's an A note. That's the root, or an open A, or this A. You go up a third, which would be 2 whole steps, and you have this note, a C sharp. But I'm not going to go, I can't hit this note at the same time because it's on the same string. But I can hit the C sharp on the B string because it's right there next to it. Now the same thing with the fifth. If here's the root, here's the third, here's the fifth, this E note, well, I can't hit, these two and that at the same time. So luckily for the guitar, you have an open E right here. So now you have this A chord, you have the A, you have the third, which is C sharp, you have the open E. Right there. And, another thing that's real tricky is that it's just, you really hear your tuning when you have, when you go through these triads. I mean, being in tune is like really important. I did one triad video, pretty much, maybe 2, but it was a little different a while back. And I was slightly out of tune, and you could tell in it. But I wanted to make another one because I'm a little bit more in tune today. So, now, trust your ears on these tuning because, when you use tuners, they get you close, but they're not really perfect. And the guitar is not really a perfect instrument. So just use your ears, tune by ear, and just keep tuning until you get in tune. That's the whole idea right there, right? So one way that I just checked my tuning real quick on this is that, once it's really easy to get the fat strings, the 6, 5, 4 in. There's a really cool tuning you could do with harmonics. So you got that. Yeah, now getting the G with the B is important to start off with the framework of these string sets. Hit this harmonic up here on the D string, then the harmonic on the 7th fret here. And make sure that open G sounds good. And then fret the A. Make sure that D sounds good right there. And then, then make sure that the D sounds like get the heater on. It's going to change the tuning as well too. So make sure you have that. And I always run through something that's this little progression right here. I go. And I listen for this D, this open D, and then this note right here, which is the 5th of D. And a lot of times, that'll be a little flat because I tune my B string a little bit flat right there so that this D chord rings out. I know it sounds weird, but. And then I make sure that the E right here rings out right with this E, this octave. So that I have this A chord right here. Right? It's a little flat right there, you can hear it. But I stretch it out. So that you can hit. So you really hear, and the guitar is not even a perfect instrument, but the whole idea is to get as close as you possibly can. I just wanted to run through that right off the bat there. So let's go back here. So any questions about this, please let me know. We did this first triad. Now, we're just going to do 3 triads per string set. We had the A, the root inversion, so we have the second inversion. So all we're doing is we're rotating the chords around right here. So here was the A, right? The root, the 3rd, and the 5th. Now if we rotate it, we go 3, 5, 1, we have a first inversion because we're starting on the 3rd. So now we have the A, let's go to the 3rd. So it's right here. Now the 5th, which was right here before, the E is right here. Because once again, here's the third, here's the fifth. You can't play a chord like on the same string, so I'm gonna play it up here. And then back to the root, the A. Because here's the root, the third, and the fifth. But it's all on one string, so we're gonna do it up in the position, which is a very common chord. Here's the E-shaped chord, right? E-shaped A chord. Just like back here was an A-shaped A chord, but only part of it. That's the thing with triads. They're really part of a full chord. And a lot of times you don't have to play the full chord. So if you're going to play a full chord here, it'd be like that, right? We don't have to play that whole chord. We're going to play just parts of it, which is this part right here. Same thing right here. You don't have to play this full E-shaped chord, because most of the time you can get away with just playing this. And if you're doing something funky like that, you wouldn't have to play. I mean, it works. It just depends on what you're trying to do. If you have a lot of information going on in a song or music down in this register, just sounds cleaner up here, right? At the seventh. So you have that first inversion, and then there's one more, and it's the second inversion. And what does that mean? That means we're going to start on the fifth degree. So starting on the E note. So the fifth degree, so the first one was root, third, fifth. Then we had third, fifth, root. Now we're going to have 5 root, third. But we're going to shift it up, just like this. So here's the third, here's the fifth. So the fifth to the, the fifth to the root. So here, but we're not going to play it all in the same string. We're going to go to the next string, the B string. So here's the root, the A, and then the third from A, 3. But luckily we have it on the next string. So there it is. That's the second inversion. You have the fifth, the root, the third. So I just took these 3 notes and I just shifted them around. I played root, third, fifth, then third, fifth, root, and then fifth, root, third. And as you can see, they make up, shapes of chords, just like the C.A.G.E.D system, which I talk about a lot. But we're not playing the full C.A.G.E.D system right here. Like here's a D chord, right? Looks like a D chord, but it's an A. Just like we did, that was an A shape, A. This was an E shape, A, because it looks like an E chord, right? But it's an A. And this looks like a D. It looks like a D, right? When you play D, right? But it's an A area. Just like this. Or like this. That would be like a chord if you had your thumb over this part right here. The same thing up here with an A. It's hard to play that. And you wouldn't really play the whole thing, you just play parts of it. Or it looks like a C if you go down to here. If you go to here, A. Which we'll get to in the next string set. A couple string sets. So, yeah, so you have the A here, first inversion, second inversion, no, root, first inversion, third. So what's cool about this too is you got one guitar player going like this. Look, I'll even do a little loop. Check this out. Do a loop. I have a little drum. Here that I'll do, I'll create a drum. That's a little fast, but it's okay. I'll slow it down. Okay. Okay, so if I had one guitar player doing this, check it out. I'll play it here. That's how cool it sounds together. Or third inversion. Just harmonizing with it. Pretty cool, huh? Look, we sound like Queen all of a sudden. So thanks for spending some time here with me so far on Sunday. It's awesome. Let's see, better late than never. Al Royce, give you a round of applause. From New Orleans. All right. So that's where the, what bowl just played there? It was a big game. I think it was a college football game. And I'm so sorry about what happened in your city. What a tragic thing that was in New Orleans. Just terrible to hear that news. What is this world coming to? So sorry to hear all that, and pray for all the people in New Orleans. I had to go through that. So, Robbie H. Love, hello. And let the bass player do the heavy lifting. That's right. I played bass in a disco band for 10 years. And I think that every guitar player should play the bass in a band just to really appreciate how important the bass is in the music. And you really learn a lot about music, especially in disco. A lot of really cool stuff, and playing the bass. So much fun with my Disco Unlimited boogie family. And so yeah, hey, Roberts. What a nice axe. What is that? Got a nice axe, like red. Does your looper have drums? Yes. I'm using the RC5, the Boss RC5 looper. It's a great looper. I have it connected with a little MIDI pedal, the Disaster Area DMC Micro Pro. I did a video on linking those two things up. So I start off my looper with hitting the MIDI thing, so it turns it on. And so it's really starting the looper in the, it's starting the drums, the rhythm in the looper. So it's pretty cool. I'm able to just kind of whip out some loops really, really simply. And it's a really great thing. I have all the stuff that I use here. It's in the description. You can check that out. And please do. And it's pretty good. I mean, it's basic drum sounds, and that's all you need really to stay in time. And it's beats playing with like just a metronome. Right? I thought you were going to say, does your mother know, when you said that, because I just got off a tour with ABBA, and that's one of the songs right there. But it says, does your looper have drums? I'm seeing does your, first thing I think of. All right, Rusty, thumbs up. But yeah, check that out. It's a great looper, especially for the price, Has all kinds of drums and loop, different rhythms, shuffles, rock beats, disco beats. Lots of good stuff in there. So real cool. All right, so let's go down here. We did that one shape. Now, what's cool too is check this out. We did those. You can go over to the next string. So instead of playing them just on here, on these string sets, do it on the next string set. Like here's an A that everyone knows and loves right here, right? Like this full chord again. The A. Well, here's this. Here's another chord. It's an A chord right there in this. Because I have the root, the third, the fifth. And look, it's the same notes as this first one here. But I'm playing it starting on the D string. The shape's a little different because, this B string is a third away. So I have it a third this way. But on this, a third is here. Okay? So root, third, fifth. So here's the root going up a third, so it's two whole steps. But then I'm going to play it on the next string instead of here, because you can't play chord on one string, right? Rollin', rollin', rollin'. 1/3. And then once again, 1/3, 5. Here it is, 1, 3, 5. So that's your full chord. Now if you want to do the next inversion of that, what you do is, looks like that. That's the shape. Here's the chord right there, the third. Here's the fifth. Here's the fifth. Back to the root again. So now you have 3, 5, root. So 3, 5, root. But instead of playing on one string, I'm going to move it up to a chord. So that's an A chord, first inversion. And you hear this a lot. It's a good shape. The bass is playing, look. you got really nice shape. Cool stuff like that. So the next inversion would be like that. So you're just going up once again. Here's the fifth, right? Because we have the third, the fifth, back to here again. So you have the root, third, fifth, 3, 5, 1. Now I'm going to start with the fifth, right? Just like that. The fifth, the root, and the third. And look, it looks like an A chord, just up the octave. Same thing's an A. That's the shape. Here's part of an E shape right here. This one is part of an A shape. Right? This looks like, a part of a C shape. It looks like a C, doesn't it? This chord, just like this. Slide it all the way up here. And there. So you have this. Look, we'll clear this out, and we'll play like a little loop, just like this, and see how it harmonizes with each other. Here's the loop. So I'll play this A. I'll go. I'll go up here. Up here. So it's the same chords, this one, and this one, as this. Same exact ones. So what's the difference? Why play it here? You can play it here. Well, different textures, different strings. And, you may find yourself in this area with an A chord. Oh man, what was that? That was some kind of notification or something. I thought I had notifications off, but one popped through. I don't know if you heard that or not, but it was a notification. Robert, is it better to practice while standing or sitting? Does sitting stop mobility? Well, it really depends on what you're practicing. We're sitting down right now. I'm sitting down and I'm just practicing. I'm running through these and I'm playing them okay. When you're standing up, it's a completely different thing, because, you have to have your guitar in a certain position to hit the guitar properly. So it's good to practice. I think Vince Lombardi said it best, the old coach for the Green Bay Packers, who won like 6 championships with them, the original Packers there, right, in the 60s. He said, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So, you want to practice something perfectly. So if you want to sit down and play perfectly, then sit down and play perfectly, right? But if you want to stand up and perform perfectly, then you have to stand up and perform perfectly. It's crazy. But yeah, like if you want to stand up and perform it and play it in a setting like that, then yeah, you would have to practice it. Otherwise, if you're sitting down practicing and all of a sudden now you got to stand up and play and perform and do that same thing, it's not going to be the same. So you got to really play what you're going to do, right? That's my suggestion with there. So it is better to practice. It depends on, like I said, it's if you're going to be performing, standing, playing, do it. And try for yourself, because if you're sitting down and you're playing, everything's perfect, but then when you stand up and try to play it and it just doesn't sound the same. Why is that? Because when the guitar's on my knee and it's framed perfectly and I could just play the chords, it's easy. But when you stand up and it's hanging there on your neck like this, now the neck is in a different spot. It's moving around. You're trying to especially if you have a neck heavy guitar, sometimes you're holding the body with your arm, trying to keep it in place. And you're playing. Now look, it's moving, so you don't have the same control over it. It takes another Another practice, it's another skill set almost to play standing up. You know, you have that. You're constantly struggling with, well, where's the guitar going to be? Here. It's going to be here. It's going to be here. You know, so you find a place. You know, then all of a sudden you're playing here. Next thing you know, you got to play up here, and you're wanting to move this over here. It's a constant struggle back and forth, but you find that as you do both. Good question. Great question. Thank you for that. My knees hurts. How you doing today? Give a round of applause. Thanks for popping in here on Monday. If you plan on playing standing up, practice standing up. Oh, couldn't have said it better myself. So you're right. Absolutely right about that. You know, I've auditioned for bands, you know, playing solos, and it's like, you better like know it standing up and performing it. You could sit here and work on it like this, because once it's time to perform, you're not going to be sitting down when you're playing, unless you're, you know, Jim Croce or something. You're sitting on a stool, you know. That's great. Great question, though. Thank you for that. Keep those questions coming. I really appreciate them. And thanks for hanging out with me here on Monday. It's great when we have our guitars in our hands, isn't it? So it's the same chords, and it's beneficial to learn them everywhere, because look, you know, you're playing this chord, this A, and what if you have a D that you want to just go to all of a sudden? It's like, bam, look, there's the D right there. It's a comfortable D that you like. It's right next to that A that I've been messing around. Or what if you're over here in this A, and all of a sudden you want to go to this D? It's right there. So there's positions that are right there. They're really cool. If you're in this A, you want to go to D. Here's a D right. You know, and that's how all these triads interlink with each other. Because, you know, instead of playing full chords, you could play them, you know, oops, all over the neck like that. And it's really nice to have those inversions going on to, you know, get different sounds, some little smaller sounds, some funky sounds in there. Really cool. So let's go back here and check this out. Now we did that string set, did we? And let's close that out. Let's check this out. Here's the next string set. We did the 3-2-1. We did the 4-3-2. Now here's the 5-4-3. See, right here was like, you know, counting the little E string as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. String set 3, 2, 1. String set 4, 3, 2, 5. Now we're on 5, 4, 3. Starting on the A. Well, where's the A? Well, it's right up here. So here's an A note. Where's the third? Go up a whole step, 2 whole steps. And here it is. So can't play a whole chord on the string, right? So we're gonna fret the D string. Now where's the 5th? Well, here's the 3rd. Here's the 5th again. So no, the E note. There's the E. I mean the A chord right there. First inversion. And that's anywhere for any neck. Right? And any neck. I listen back a lot to these lives, and I wound up saying like the stupidest things. Like, for any neck? And I won't even correct myself. I'll just go and I'll listen back later. For any chord. Because I'm not indicating what chord it is. I'm just indicating the shape and the intervals. Root, 3rd, 5th. Just like that. And you could go down to the next position, which is the 3rd, 5th root. I can't hit this chord down here because it's an open A and I don't have any notes on this side of the fretboard. So, but as we move up, we'll be able to play the first inversion here. So we have starting on this note, C sharp the 3rd. You have the 3rd, the 5th. You don't have that note, so you have the 3rd, the 5th, and here's the octave again. First inversion, it's just like this. And you know this chord, everyone plays this, right? So very famous, where it's like, you know, it's very, very, someone's playing an A here, kind of like this. So check this out. So a little loop again, and it would be like a Very common if somebody was just like, just loop that. Right? Someone was just doing something like that, and I went to, very common to go. I could hit it clean. It's the third. I like it. Right down here. Same thing in this inversion. You know, it's just like. But I like this one. It's nice and full. On that A string. You know, pretty cool. All right. Al Royce. Thanks for the well wishes. It was a tough New Year. Yeah, New Year's Day, of course, of all days to New Year's Day. I'm talking about New Orleans, a tragedy that happened over there on New Year's Day. Just really, really sad. And I love that city. And for me, bend is hard. I begin guitar. Yeah, bending is a tough one. But yeah, thanks, Al, for hanging out here. And my prayers and thoughts go out to the people of New Orleans for that devastation that happened out there and at the Silver Dome. Is it out there? Not the Silver Dome. That's in Michigan. It's the what dome is it? Happening in New Orleans. But really tragic. And bending, I do a lot of stuff on bending. That's so important. You know, one quick tip on bending: just match the note as best you can. Here's an A. Take the note before it, like a G. Or in this case, you know, take a G. And just bend it and try to match the pitch. When you have that A playing, give it a little vibrato. If you're not sure what the note is, hit it first, like here. And then match it. What's great about these triads, hit the third. Then match that. Then the fifth, the E, bend that up. Going off the rails a little bit, but having some fun. All right, tanks. You got it, but Robert, are chromatic chords used a lot in blues, and are they important to learn? Chromatic chords used in blues? Yeah, absolutely. And that really goes back to the subject of these triads right here, because they are chromatic chords. Anyway, I'm going from an A, right? From this A. You go into a 4 chord to a D. Look how close it is. It's chromatic because it's right there next to it. You want to kind of really stay chromatically because it really gives you an impression that you're not jumping around too much. You're in the same vicinity. Hitting this A chord, if it was a blues context, if it was like a... Because I'm already hitting this note. It's so close, it just sounds natural. I didn't say hello to my buddy Jer Devil. I'll give you a round of applause. My Steeler friend. And, Steelers are in the playoffs, coming after 4 straight losses. But we're still going to crush the Ravens on Saturday night. But anyway, that's a whole nother subject right there. But yeah, chromatics are really important in the blues. And that's what's great about these triads, because they're showing, the A chord everywhere. But once you get into, the blues and the, you start hitting other chords that are really close, like this D. If you're hitting an A7, if you take this note, this A chord, and if you went down and hit an A7, well, that 7th goes to this D triad, because the 7th degree falls right into the 3rd of the 4 chord. And now watch this D. If you hit a 7th, like this, the 7th chord. Watch chromatic. Back to that same chord that we learned already. That shape. And if we went to an E, already in a D chord, here's an A. Right? D, D, E, A. So triads are cool because they have all the ingredients right there to do chromaticism and everything, even if it's just one note that blends into the next chord right there. I think that's what you're asking, right? I mean, I'm not like a master of chromaticism at all. It's just pretty basic versions of it, but sometimes the basic stuff is the hardest stuff to learn. But I would suggest that, Ali, for bending. Match the notes, It takes a lot of people a long time to realize that. It took me a long time before I realized the importance. And I still have to, think about it a lot, because it's very easy to fall back on hard habits, because bad habits die hard, So I'm always thinking, hey, don't just think of the note when you're bending, because it all shows up, You listen back to it. Doesn't lie. Record yourself and listen back, and you'll be like, oh. Unless you're constantly thinking about it. It's like a singer with bending notes. Singers, if they're not concentrating hitting the note, they're going to be flat or sharp, and it's not going to be good. It's just like guitar. You're singing with the guitar. So if you're a little flat, it's like listening to a singer sing flat. If you're bending up too much and it's too sharp, it's like a singer. And you're like, why is that singer terrible? It's because they're not focusing on just hitting the note in tune. And boy, do I know about that. Not being in tune, that is. So, all right. Very, very cool. Now let's go back over here to this camera. D's camera. Now we did that. Let's go to the next. Oh, I did, that invert. Did I do that inversion on the different string set? Well, it was the A. I got carried away with that next chord, with this one, with the first inversion. Here's the second inversion. So we had the 3rd, 5th, root. Now we're going to go 5, root, which is up here, 5, root, and it's part of this chord. So if you always, when you look at these chords, like these basic chord, bar chords like this, you see there's 3 triad, in here. You see all of the intervals in these chords. It's always the same, never changes. Root, 5th, root. And here's that triad. Root, 3/5, root, 5, 3, root, 5. It's always the same. So here's part of it. Here's that second inversion. Starting on the 5th, it's this chord without this finger. So move that out of the way. If I start on the second on the A string, that's the second inversion. Because it's the 5th, the root, the 3rd. Just like this was. Same as this. What's the point? Well, say you had somebody was playing this down here, and they were going with the drums, just to keep it honest in time. If somebody was going, you could play it up here, the same thing. It's cool, add something. Go back down here. I do our little trick. Bend some notes. Just one way to mess around with the inversions. So the last string set is right here. It's very similar to the same thing as it was on the A string, but now we're on the 6, 5, 4. So you got the A right here. Look, it's really like a G shape. It looks like a G chord, right? But it's right here. You have the A note, the 3rd, and the 5th. So A, 3rd, 5th. Just like the A, just like this one over here. That's the first inversion. Then you have the no, that was the root. Here's the first inversion. Here's the A. Here's the 3rd, 5th, root. Once again, that's that cool. It's really tough sounding. If we did something with the looper, and you had like a, like someone was playing like this chord, they're just strumming a cowboy chord, like. That was a bad loop. Let's try it again. It was like a 1, 2. Not perfect. Why does that sound terrible like that? Oh, let's try it again. Delete that. Start the loop. Like a, okay, that's a little better. Someone's doing that, right? And you can go. got that. And then you have the last inversion, which is the second inversion of that. So you have the root, 3, 5. You have the 3, 5 root. Then here you have, once again, 5, root, second inversion. It's the same thing as this. Look. So everything's kind of just moving down the instrument. It's like this, and it's the same shape, but it's down a string. It's the same notes. The fifth, the root, the third, the fifth, the root, the third. It's good to know. Like, what's the point? You say, well, why? I know it here. I know it here. Because, you know, there may be a time where you're playing a D chord here, right? You want to go to an A. Well, you can go to that chord. A, D, A. Second inversion A. A to D to A. Lots of good reasons to know that stuff. All right. So I went through all the inversions of A. And if you want a free PDF of all these inversions, just shoot me an email at info@Cherry, and I'll send that right over to you today. And yeah, let me know. Info@Cherry, I'll send you a PDF. I was going to, I have some MP3s backing tracks that we could experiment with too. I'll do one of those, and we'll see how we like that. But I went through all of the different ones right there. Let's see. Let's check out this backing track. See, what if we have something like a, for instance, here's an example of making music with some of this stuff. And first of all, how you guys doing out there? You all right? You having a good time? What am I doing? I have 2 mouse pads here and track pads. And we're drinking coffee, but we're not smoking big cigars like Johnny Cash wishes he was doing in Folsom Prison Blues. He wishes he was drinking coffee, too. The things we take for granted, right? So, yeah, having a good time. I was on tour for 10 days with SOS direct from Sweden, the music of ABBA. We played everywhere. We went to Spokane. Last week I did my live from Spokane, Washington, from my hotel room. You know, and that was a lot of fun. But it really, it makes the rest of the next few days kind of tough because it really throws off my sleep pattern. And then I do the videos and I'm editing and all this stuff on the road, which is a lot of fun because I really enjoy doing this stuff. I do it for you. I do it for us, right? So Spokane, Washington, then Asheville, North Carolina. And then we went to Rhode Island and then Boston. And then we ended up in Tarrytown, New York, which is just up from here in Brooklyn, New York, you know, about an hour away. On the way back, I was dropped off right up by the N train in Astoria. And here I am back home. And are you direct from Sweden too? Well, that's a tricky question right there. You know, Elvia. So that is a good question. I don't know. What do you think there, Robert? But most of the band is, so we'll leave it at that right there, right? But if you haven't seen the band, you know, check them out. Go on YouTube and check out some videos from them. Really, really amazing singers and really fun show last night at the Tarrytown Music Hall. Some friends of mine came out there because it's kind of a local show. It's beautiful theater, and my friend Fred was like, "I didn't even know you sang." And I said, I didn't know either. It was funny seeing him and his wife, Janine. Great people. So let's see. I haven't really practiced this, and I don't know what I'm going to do here, but I'm going to just try to find this backing track here that we could do something with. It's a, which one would work? Here's a CFGC. Let's see what that is. See what that sounds like. And hopefully I'm in tune enough to match this. You know, it's an F, a G, to a C. So we got a C. So if you have a progression like that, that's a C to an F to a G to a C. Taking it with these inversions that we have, well, let's see, if we go over to here, this other camera, we'll go back, we'll go to the top, and we're going to transfer this, not that one, this first inversion, okay? Didn't have to be an A, it could be a C. So check it out, a C chord. That's the first chord. And then went to a G. Look, here's the G. No, went to an F. Where's the closest F here? Right here. Check that out. It's a D shape F. And then there's a G was the next chord, right? I can go up here if I want to, or I can go down here, back to a C. So over this progression, good G. Just check my tuning here. I might have went a little flat. Yeah, I'm a little flat with this backing track because, like I said, the heater is on here, and the heats will take your strings and flatten them. That's one thing to keep in mind too. If you're in a cold place and you move your guitar to a warm place, your strings are going to go flat. Same thing, vice versa. If your strings are in a hot place and all of a sudden somebody opens the door, right? And the cold air gets in, guess what? Your strings are going to go bing, they're going to go sharp. Wicked sharp. See, wicked sharp because I was in Boston for a couple days. I was in Boston for 3 days. Now everything's wicked. Stretch that a little bit. So the D, get the A back there. See, it's a little flat. You know, the A, bear with me. I'm tuning for your pleasure. The A. Keep going very little bit at a time because you don't want to overshoot it. You don't want to go sharp. It's tuning, so that's pretty close right there, right? So take my tuning like this. There's a great video that Dweezil Zappa came out with recently. He said Eddie Van Halen taught him this tuning thing where you fret this. So I've been trying it, and it works good. But once again, use your ear. Then tune that D. Pretty good. Try this. See, it's a little flat. So I'll just go up with it a little, because it's a compensation thing. It's like it's a balance between. See, that's a little. We're gonna do a whole video on tuning, but once you go tune that up, then your D is sharp here. So it's a fine line, in my opinion. Go up with that one like this. I'll tune that fifth, because fifth should always sound perfect. So here's the A. Let's see if it helped at all. Maybe we're way off. Check it out. Here's the C. Here's an F. Nope. Just a little bit out of tune with them. Maybe I'm out right here. That's flat. There we go. That's better. Try that. There you go. It's better. C. It's an F. This one just sounds, the F sounds a little bit out. C here. That's close, not bad. Now, if you did something a little different here, and you started on, say, the next inversion up. Why is that one still open right there? We'll close that. We started on the next inversion, which wouldn't be that. It would be the this one. Is it? No, that's the first inversion. Second inversion. First inversion right here. This A right here. But in the C form right here, right? Here it is right here, a C chord, second inversion, first inversion, here's a C, And I think, where is the next chord, the F? Well, here's an F right here. Look, here's an F. Just like the first root inversion F. Just like that A here. Just like this C. Here's an F. Look, it's right next to it. Going back to the chromaticism, Robert, chord. Look, I'm going up just next to it. So here's an F. Now, where's the G that's close? Well, here's a G. I would say, I mean, there's a few of them right here, but here it is right here. Here's a G. Second inversion G. So here's a C, first inversion, an F, root inversion, a G, second inversion, back to the C. And it sounds like this. Sorry. Here we go. C. There we go. Oh, we put some delay on it. Check it out. What about a little distortion? Give it a little vibrato there. Check it out. Even doing solos, check it out. Some fun. Oh, that was not back and track. So this I can give you if you would like. Just a simple 3 chords and the truth right there. Playing some different things over it. And that's just one example of why it works. You know, see? You know, stuff like a sounds like a funky disco song or something, you know, like a, you know, if you were, nobody would really do it like this. Nobody would go. Or if they did, then you can go. Or pick it. Down here. All right, having some fun. Ooh, what happened here? 1 second. Sorry, you don't see that, but I just moved my video thing. I messed that up. All right, we're back. KB. Hi, Mumph. Sorry, I just butchered your last name there. But regarding tuning, I think we have drilled. Let's see. I need some coffee for this one. Regarding tuning, I think we have drilled with modern pitch corrected music so much that we no longer tolerate natural intonation from real instruments. Regarding, hear that? I don't know why that notification. Where's that coming from? But I apologize for that. Regarding tuning, I think we have drilled with modern pitch correction so much that we no longer tolerate natural intonation from real instruments. Trying to understand that correctly, because you're right about, I think we have drilled with modern pitch correction, like auto-tune and stuff like that everything's so perfect that we no longer tolerate natural intonation, which would be, I guess, unperfect intonation from real instruments. Right, I understand now. Like the guitar, like I was saying, it's not, and it's a pain. You're trying to tell me that you're accepting the fact that it's a natural instrument and that it's not perfect. Now, what if it was perfect? They make those guitars, those temperamented guitars, where those frets are like all over the place. I mean, try getting drunk and playing that thing, right? Someone told me that once. I thought it was funny. Or the ones that are like diagonal, all those frets. I mean, I don't know. I'm not into it. I fell in love with the guitar just like this when I was a kid, I'm not saying I'm against change or anything like this. But I tell you what, man, there's nothing better than, I guess, an in-tune guitar. But imagine it being perfect. That would be really cool to actually sit and play guitar and it's actually perfect intonation. Maybe it wouldn't be as good. Maybe the struggle is part of it, in guitar and trying to get it right, But you're right. In auto-tuning things, I've never been around anything that tuned guitars like with technology. Like I've never taken my guitar and tuned it after the fact or a guitar solo. Never. I'm like like a singer, a real pure singer who wouldn't tune their voice, because they're so into it. Where it's like I want it to be natural. There's certain singers that you couldn't imagine their voices tuned, like David Lee Roth with Van Halen. I think they did it as a joke. They tuned his vocal once, and it was like, what? It wasn't the same. With guitars, they do tune guitars after the fact, and I can't imagine that because when I'm recording, I just play it, and get it in tune, and it's always, or do another take or tune it. Or if you're playing guitar solo, you play it right. You do 50 takes if you have to, and you get all those notes. You don't fix anything with tuning on guitars. Maybe with vocals it's another thing. I don't know. But with guitars, couldn't imagine that. But people do that. It's just programs that do that, tune guitars. But if you're not really a professional, then I could see you're doing that. But professional. But it's a great question, KB. Thank you so much for saying that. We have been drilled. Sorry. Yeah, but you're right. I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you. I totally agree with you. We've been drilled. Everything that we hear is perfect now. You're right. Everything that here, it's spot on, perfect. And if it's because it's tuned, I don't know. I guess so. I'm not doubting it. But we're drilled with it because everything is perfect and it's boring, isn't it? I mean, when I hear music and pop music on the radio and it's so perfected that it's just like, what is the point of it? But some people love that. A lot of people don't care. If it has a groove, it has a beats, it is what it is. But I like music played by human beings and with real emotion, and studying the instrument enough. Like I'm explaining to you, like it took me a long time to understand this, how to get this guitar in tune. A lot of times people, you don't have to play for a year, and you see people strum in there, and it's perfect and it sounds great. Sometimes the tuners work right for some people. Sometimes ignorance is bliss. A lot of times, and it just goes in, and they have a natural touch, a natural feel, and they don't really know what's happening in there, but they just play it, and it just sounds great. But sometimes for others, if it's you're playing it, you've tuned up with a tuner, and you're playing, and it still just doesn't sound right. You dig in a little bit deeper, you can find out why, and you figure out how the guitar works. And certain notes on the guitar don't really sit together, like thirds. Like fourths and fifths are always pretty solid, but the thirds, seconds, sixths, some of those other notes, they don't vibrate the same. Like if you play chords, full chords with distortion, you understand what I'm saying. They don't ring out right. And Van Halen would do stuff like he would tune for the song that he's playing, and which is really cool too. So great question. Thank you for bringing that up. Really appreciate that. And Robbie H. Love, check out soca music from Africa. It uses a lot of 4-chord triad progressions and makes you dance. Yeah. What was that one chord, that one song that was it was a huge hit? Get Lucky? Remember that song, Get Lucky? And it had that 4-chord, like and it was just really like it was, full chords. So like I don't remember what chords it was, but it was like an F, sharp minor, like a B, sharp minor, an A, like a D. But it played it up here, in this higher position register. It was like, something like that. It wasn't those last 2 chords, but just those just inversions, and they're up higher in the neck, and they sound cooler when you want to make some music out of it, KB. Frashante is out of tune on purpose, apparently. Is he really? Maybe. But I'll tell you what, that's a good example, because John Frusciante from the Red Hot Chili Peppers is really just amazing at that stuff, for sure. The beginning of Under the Bridge is a perfect example of those triads and those chords. Those are some cool chords that he's playing right there, and it's got to be perfect to play, like, I don't even know what he's doing there, but it's like, I just played. Now I'm going to get a copyright claim in there. But those chords, man, you got to listen to those and get them in tune. Most tuners, tuna, is not going to put you in. I mean, I've gone to the studios, into big studios. I've tuned. I've gotten really close. And then I hit a chord, and I use my ear. And this goes back to when I was a kid in the studio for the first time at 15 years old. Lucky enough to have been playing with some older guys, a couple years older. One guy, Carl Bailey, who was my best friend and guitar player, was 3 years older, 4 years older, had perfect pitch, amazing guitar player. He would always in the studio, he would just tune it with his fine tuners by his ear, and it was perfect. And I learned even back then, it's like, man, that it's all by ear. You have to just trust your ears, because that's what you're doing. You're listening back to music. So it's all about trusting your ears. But that's a good thing to have to check that out. Soul-Cuss music chords are picked individually, kind of like Paul Simon, Graceland. Yeah. Very, very cool. So tuning, and it's man, we could go on forever about tuning and this and that. But this is a triad video, right? But it's great because you're playing triads and you're hearing 3 notes. And man, that's a lot more than 2 notes. So it's one more than 2 notes. And power chords are a little bit easier to get perfectly in tune. But when you hear 3 notes of root, a third, a fifth, and you really hear the intonation issues in there, because of 1, 3, and a 5 is going to be perfect. Should be. But that third, I'm telling you, the third is always going to be a little bit sharp. In my opinion, that's from my knowledge of it. The third, a major third, is always a little bit sharp, because then you hit the fourth and it's perfect. But that fourth down to the major third is a little bit sharp. And that's why Van Halen in Running with the Devil takes that major third note on the B string and he flattens it a little bit, which means that the fourth is now a little flat, but he's not playing the fourth, he's playing just the thirds. So that's why that works. And it's a balance, it's a compromise that I've been told, where it's like, okay, you find that middle ground. Okay, well, here's a perfect fifth. Here's the root. Here's the perfect fifth. Well, that fourth, you're taking, you know, like I did before with the D, with D, and then with the B. Getting the E chord and a G chord in tune is the struggle, because that's the balance, that's the tipping point where you get a G in and the E. And then that, usually if you have your E, your B string, if you have that sharp enough to match this B on your A string, which is a little flat right now, it'll be too sharp for the D or the G chord. So you're leaving your B a little bit flat, so your full E chord. So that's just what I've noticed. If you have a really good intonated instrument, maybe it's better. But I don't have a really good intonated instrument. But it goes out with the weather. You can get it set up one day, and then the next day it just changes because of especially if you live in New York and it's snowing. So we got a couple more minutes here to talk about this, and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. We do this stuff every week. Digging this, man. Started by learning all of my triads using only the D, G, and B strings. That's a good one, just to stay on the 4-3-2 string set before extending to the other 3 strings. Could you demonstrate some triad chord licks, please? All right, we'll wrap it up with something like that on those strings. So something like for the E, be like this. Here's the you're saying on this, the D, G, and the B. Here's A right here, right? So I'll put it on this camera right here so you can see a little bit better. And we'll get rid of this so you don't have to see that. And so if I was in here, I would do stuff like, I would take that third, and I would just, minor third, I would take that, I would bend it up to a third. And then do the 7th. That's a good blues lick right here. Will look like that. Minor third to the third. Now take that right there. It's right in the position. Here's the 6th and bend it up to a 7th. To the A. Right, here's one. Triad. Same thing up here to this first inversion. You can go. Third. While you're up here, do stuff like that. Here's, you know, here's the 5th. The 3rd. There's the licks, the 5th to the 6th. Here's the A. Same thing you did here. But you know, the benefit over here, right here, if you're like, you're close to the D. Same licks that I was doing here. But now I'm in D because I played, here's the A. D. Went down to the 3rd. This is A. First root. Hear that? Trying to vibrate the 5th. Sounds good. Here's the 3rd. Minor 3rd. Now to the 5 chord. Look, I'm right next to it. I'll just go down to a D here. Now to an A. To the 3rd of an A. Let's come right next to it. Right? That's just a couple of examples in that string set. I think I stayed in close in the string set. Hopefully, so. But that's a great example. I mean, it's a great idea for a full video on stuff like that, you know? Great idea for a full video. Doing licks inside of the triad shapes. You know, because a lot of times you'll be in one shape and you know this. You know this shape right here because you've played these in these shapes here and here. Because your pentatonic shape is here. Shape. But, you know, over here, how many different licks and stuff do you know here? That you know that you're on the A, so I would think that's a good lick in that area. This one's good. I'm just utilizing the normal interval sounds. I know at the 5th to the 6th, major 6 is cool, like while you have this root ringing. Right to the 3rd here. I know here's the 3rd, so the 3rd. And up here in this one, this triad on those same strings is pretty cool too because you have the root. Or the 7th. I always take the 7th, I take the major 6 and bend it up to the 7. That's pretty cool. Down there again. So thank you, KB, for that. Very, very cool. That's a great idea for another lesson. Every one of those triads, the 4-string shapes, the 3 inversions. So that's 12. That's 12 positions. Imagine that to play licks in. And because they're different areas and different tonalities, you're going to play differently. So most people play in 1. Imagine playing in 12. And it's all the same type of stuff. Man, I'm just getting excited thinking about that because I love that. I love that kind of stuff. So, all right. I think we're going to wrap it up here today. I don't know why my video thing just keeps moving around because I keep touching it. So, those licks were great. Well, thank you very much. It's great to see those notes orbiting the triad notes on those 3. Is that am I saying it right? Orbiting. The triad notes on those 3 strings. Yep, orbiting. Okay, very, very cool. I like the choice of words, the orbiting. Very, very cool. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of whipped this out here pretty quick today because I got in late last night from the tour and I had no notes on this whatsoever. I just had those graphs from a prior video that I did and whipped them up. But I knew where I wanted to go with this, just kind of did it, and hopefully and I'm glad that you guys brought up some points and some questions to go off of here. So any more ideas, keep them coming. If you want this backing track that I have, I know it's simple, it's the first one I pulled out. Email me info@cherrychair, I'll send it over to you. I can send you a graph of these charts as well that I used here today. Just say hello, info@cherrychair, I'll send them right over to you. And I keep those ideas coming in the comment section, in the chats. We'll be back next week. It's going to be crazy because I'm going to Florida for a tour for a week. But I might be able to do it on Sunday. Bring my live gear with me. Go in there and is this Samuel from France that I met years ago back in New York, like 15 years ago? Samuel? I don't know if it's you or not, but it might not be because I'm not sure if he was from France. But every now and then, this guy Samuel that I met from like 20 years ago pops in. And I'm like, hey, how you doing, Samuel? It'd be interesting if it was you, but I don't think he was from France. So, all right. Hopefully you're not a bot with the Samuel bot 69. But you're probably not because you're look like a real human to me. Thank you, and it's very, very polite of you. Thank you very much. And I don't think. All right. Very cool. I don't think either, but no, I know what you're saying. Very, very cool. So thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with me here today. Really appreciate it. You know, there's a link. Do have a guitar course that I just mentioned real quick. I mean, it's I put a lot of time into this, and it focuses on 4 subjects. Fretboard memorization, you know, and is that right there? I'll just show you. It's fancy graphics I have. Fretboard memorization. I show you how to memorize the whole fretboard really simply. The circle of fifths shows you how to like play all the chords and everything. I go through some blues soloing with graphics and backing tracks, and I added a 4th section, so it's never ending, of the C.A.G.E.D system. And if you want to check that out, there's a link in the description for that as well. I appreciate that. So I love you. Say hello. Let me know if you want those backing tracks. Thanks for spending time with me here today. Those questions were great. I loved converting with you here today. And is that the right word? And conversing with you. That's right. My brain's spinning backwards here today. And I'll see you in the next one, all right? If you want to see another video similar to this, I'll put it up there. But remember, be cool, be kind, be cherry. I love yous, and I will see you in the next one. So have a great week, everybody. Peace.